the meeting order. We do have an agenda. I'll take it off. Maybe the time comes to the meeting. So we're going to discuss the residency, the impact of hiring, and also the retaining employees. We're going to pull out if you're on the agenda. We're going to bring up item number 2, which would be discussions with the department heads. The challenges and impact of the residency. All right, actually, right now we have a forum with 4 residency commission members, and there might be some other later rounds. So, first up, we'll start. Yeah, I actually look at it too. That's what everybody.
Right.
Yeah, excuse me, I didn't know exactly why I was here. So I actually look at residency a couple of different ways. Our numbers are certainly down. Which I feel that residency certainly affects it. But at the same time, the police department is going through the time right across the country. So I'm not really sure if the sole purpose of our numbers being down is residency or just the climate of the police right now. I certainly would welcome other people to be able to take our exams and sign up. But I think we have that. We exhaust our residency list. We go to the non-residency list. So I don't know if that affects you the way that it affects other departments. We will accept non-residents once we exhaust our residency list. So if it helps bring numbers in, I'm all for residency. I'm all for the leading the city of residency, but if we're going to do it the way that we're doing right now, I don't think that's really playing up and our hiring plans. Once again, if we have a full complement of residents and they're eligible for the academy, we'll take all residents. But if we're not, then we go to the non-residents anyway. So we're still, I think that we are maybe not effectively exactly well.
And because you can go directly from residents to non-residents without having to do any reliever or anything like that. That as a result, you need contract.
If I get under the union contract, that's where residency comes in for both police and for fire, and under the residency ordinance, that's negotiating a 10-year residency rule in their contracts. And under the civil service law, there's a preference for Springfield residents in the civil service process as long as they've been a city resident for 1 year before the date of the state. And then, as the W was pointing out, once that list of Springfield residents is exhausted, then you can go to non-Springfield residents go off that same testing process. But we exhaust the Springfield residents version.
Thank you.
We have questions? Papers. I figure out that we'll talk about the department heads, and we'll go to the president afterwards. Marty, John.
Good morning. Marty Curley, the president of the team. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate it. I agree with Deputy Chief Superintendent Akers on the what we've gone through for recruitment, and when we exhaust the Springfield list, we have to reach out of the city, ask people to come into the city, and many are saying that they would rather not move here. Also, contractually, we have a 10-year residency requirement for all hires. An officer called me the other day. She had 3 years with the city prior to working with the police department. Now she is she's getting close to her 10 years. It's going to have yet. She's planning on getting married. Now she has to previous hour deduction because it's only has to employee as the police department. Now she's going to leave the department. She doesn't apply somewhere else will complete the will rate. Well, I don't should be. Also with the recruitment part of it. Historically, the fire department, police department was filled with veterans. Now, if someone's going in service, or if you recruit the military, you can bring in, the young men women also that are already disciplined, already trained. They may already be police officers or firefighters in the service, but if they're not from Springfield, they'll be forced to live here. I live in Springfield myself. I've lived here for 52 years. I love the city, but not everybody wants to be forced to be in the city. It's tough. You might have a young officer who's come to Springfield, they're from the city. They might meet someone from out of town. If that other person, they want to be married and they have a house in Wilbraham or West Springfield or New York or anything. That person has to sell their house for their spouse to keep their job. You never think of that, that's still in there. I know it's our contract, we went to get rid of it, but it's all about the city, the shortage. You know, there's officers all week long that can't go home when the shift is over because we don't have enough cops to fill the shifts. That's real. 6 people are doing overtime today to come with the 4 to 12. And that's killing our overtime budget too. There's other bureaus that need that overtime money, but we need it for squad to protect the city. And that's when we don't have enough officers. We can't recruit it on. Very difficult.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else think you?
No.
You got it?
Thank you for having me here today. So I'll explain in terms of uniform and ununiformed personnel, or civilian personnel. And I'll start with our civilian personnel. We have a problem filling our civilian ranks due to the residency ordinance. We have had an open mechanics position for 2.5 years. It's continually posted, it's on the website. The lab we interviewed 18 months ago, I believe, for it. We did not have any qualified candidates for heavy truck mechanics. We have talked to heavy truck mechanics, trying to entice them to apply, and they will not apply for the job because it has a residency ordinance with it. They all live in other communities. They're established in other communities. They have houses, and they do not want to sell their house and move to the city just for the job. So that's an example on the civilian side where it's hurting us. Also, we're filling an administrative assistance position. We did have applicants, but we had a couple applicants that came to the interview, didn't realize the residency applied. We're good candidates, but then we're disqualified from the process because they didn't want to move to the city. So we're losing good candidates for positions in the civilian ranks to the fact the residency ordinance and having to relocate to the city. And these are people in contingent communities, who live all around the city, but it's not economically feasible for them to sell their home to then move to the city for the job. So, to a person, they've all told us for many of the positions we've hired and advertised on the civilian side. On the dispatch side, it's the same thing. We hire people, we train them, and you're a great dispatcher in the city of Springfield. After 1 year, you're a superstar. Police side, you handle chases, you handle gun calls, you handle a variety of high incidents as a dispatcher. They get a year under their belt, and they're a marketable commodity, and they're moving to communities that do not have residency ordinances, and they will oftentimes take less money. And they're taking less money for number one, slower pace, and number 2, they can live work with it. So we lose people every year to the dispatch center due to residency issues. On the uniform side, it's hasn't really shown itself as much, but anecdotally, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, we had over 1,000 people taking the test to be firefighters. This last year, I believe we had 150 or 200 people sign taking the test. So that's about an 80% decrease in our candidate pool who signs up to take the exam. We have had people come in and sign the card for a job as a Springfield resident, and then find out that they're mandated to stay in the city for 10 more years and return from the job. Because they're taking the job, trying to make a better life for themselves and their families, and they want to try to move to the suburbs or move someplace else. And they like the fact that they have to stay here for years. We've had some firefighters, resign after a few years on the job and go to different occupations, for pay or for the ability to.
Because one of them also has been asked and move the rest of the police department, we probably have the same issues with the administrative staff, the therapist staff. In terms of hiring, if that's a requirement for them as well.
We do, we have the same problem as a fire. Like the chief said, nobody ever meets this task that we've had for this year. Yeah. Last year to take it out of those. Like I said, that used to never happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. I know everybody has opinions, guys. Happy speaking.
Brian Ward, firefighters, union president. So probably one of the most common issues I get from members, we have about 2/3, maybe plus of our members have come in the last decade and have gone through the 10-year requirement. And many of them get about halfway through, they start having kids and whatnot, starts becoming something that they get upset with, not being able to have options. And like the commissioner brought up, people are leaving. It's just that it is happening. On top of that, it's just procedures. We have a 10-year requirement, but then if you want to continue up the ranks outside of our local food district chief position, you then have to look at that factor again. So if someone, let's say they complete the 10 years at this point, and then they go, okay, I want to finish out or whatever, their wife has a job somewhere else or something, they want to be halfway, they fulfill their requirement, they leave, but then they want to continue moving up the ranks, and they could have been here and had a quality performance, good job, they do everything, they meet all the qualifications you want, but that's the stipulation for them, they're not interested in moving back, make that next move. And I think that can be imperative when you want a higher caliber quality. At the same time, there's also just the reality of I do understand ideals. I'm an idealist person. If it is a perfect world, if every single person fell in line and it was right, then I could see where it would be beneficial, but there's not consistency all the way, including within ourselves. After 10 years, we're different than other members of the city, right? But there's other members that also have complete rights or requirements. So it's just not fair and consistent for everybody. It should be the thing that helps the sum and by all.
Thanks, Brad. Mr. Chair, I'd like to clarify a point that Lieutenant brought up. So that's absolutely correct. In the first 10 years, appointed hired after 2017, you got one city. But the point that if you work, just so everyone's on the same page, when you promote up from a captain to a district chief, they are very different, or they're actually up. So they actually have to live with the city. Very good point. So they can't go to this. So the lieutenant's point, 10 years in it, you're adapting to move out after 10 years, but back in the district chief. Thanks for that. I'd like to speak on that too. So we've actually lost the communities. Bracket on that. We had the rank captain. Updated the chief's example because I've not been back into the city. You know, one of the factors also is it could be a mortgage from 10 years ago to 2 1/4. You know, times have changed since the benefits on it was 6.5, 6 3/4. Now you've got all this equity built in your home. Now you're cashing out your equity to buy a new home. It ends up being financial.
That was a question I was going to ask. So big people pass up motion because it fixed them. I signed a policy.
And so we don't.
That's real good.
Director Tignoli.
Thank you. Everybody. I need this ordinance to go away. Need. It's killing my department. I am down 15%, 137 employees. We hire off a civil service, different type of civil service than police and fire. There's no exam, there's no nothing. So we're hiring off a civil service list. Because of residency, I have to wait for multiple openings so that I can then pick out a longer list of people who may live in the city. If a person wants to come work for the city and they are from the city of Chickpea, I can't bypass them. I just have to not hire. That's why I end up having to wait a list of 5 or 6 or 7 employees at the openings. Then I'm able to choose off a list of 15 or 16 people. Right now, this past February and March, we did not repair one sign in the city of Springfield. And knockouts did not happen because I didn't have the people to do it. We will have a severe shortage this year. Streets will not get swept. We do not have people with all the proper licensing to be able to get that work done. We have people to do it, but not as many as we have, because with hoisting licenses now, with loaders, backhoes, street sweepers, we need to be doing all over the place. So street sweeping is not going to get done. Potholes are severely delayed right now because of having a shortage of people. Our street maintenance division is down 25%. We've hired a bunch of people. All I've done is hire my own people to promote them. So I know I've had conversations with the mayor about CDL drivers, and I came to him and I said, Mayor, I hired 4 CDL drivers. So, congratulations. Now I don't have any people build sidewalks because they don't have their CDL license. So all I'm doing is hiring my own employees. I had a non-bargaining employee quit last week. Actually, this week came to me and said, I'm leaving for 3 reasons. I said, why? Residency, and pay. She needs to get married. She goes, I don't want to get fired. We would have to fire her. That's where stuff like that comes from. Female engineer who lives in the city of Springfield. I mean, her response was, you mean I can live here for the next 4 years? I can't move anywhere. I mentioned about the civil service, and right now, for somebody driving a loader, I don't have people. So we today, standing and salting, one guy going to 20 hours for that, expecting grievance. I got nobody to do it. So my whole thing with everybody here, services are being impacted and will be severely impacted this year. And with all the respect, if this continues, I expect snow to be a shit show next year. I do not have the people to be able to get this work done. When things get really bad, BJ mentioned mechanic. I can't find it either. And it's all the city of Springfield. A couple of years ago, the mayor said, go ahead, we'll give them a waiver. I said, no. We ended up hiring this person. I now have 10 people who can't get a waiver, but one guy got, and he's the new guy. He can't, so the animosity was just over the top. During the interview process, when you apply in the city of Springfield, there's only 2 questions that tell you there's a residency. It asks you, do you live in the city or will you move to the city? There's nothing in there that says you have to be a resident. So you get to an interview. And then it's like, I just wasted an hour of my time in the order there. Comment. And lastly, we have had people accepting positions and then coming back and saying, no, sorry. Now, because of the timing of that, I got to go through all the hiring process again. I can't go back to the list. I can't stand any stronger that right now it is killing my department from a hiring standpoint. When we did our budget presentation a few weeks ago, and it's also an issue, not for the residency commission, it's bad. Pay is an issue. So now we're doing a job with both hands tied behind our back. If I can get rid of residency, that's at least one. And I need to have it happen. If I'll say this point, like if I, as the department head, as a head of the city, need to be the face that happy to do it. Because we need to drill into people's heads, especially the city council. You are losing services. And one of the city councilors at a meeting said, I don't understand why an employee wouldn't want to live in the city. Wouldn't want to move to the city of Springfield. I'm going to hire somebody at $46,000 who lives with their parents in South Hadley to move to the city of Springfield? How? They're gonna buy a house for $225,000 when they're making 40 grand? And I'm dealing with lower level, because when we have all the different levels of the totem pole, the guy who gets promoted, everybody then trickles up. I'm hiring at the low level because of our union rules and union contract. So I'm dealing with 22, 23, 25-year-old kids who have no finances, and they just come and they want a job. So I can't take it, I can't say it any stronger than that. I put together a little narrative on that. I'm happy to share with you guys about it. I'll just leave it with you. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Director Camille?
Would you think of a list of all the agencies?
Absolutely,
Yours would be
absolutely.
enforcement is great, too.
Excuse me.
Code enforcement, that's it.
Well, they're different. They do whatever the hell they want.
That's next, that's
That's
next.
it. And yes, I can give you that. And ours is always in flux a little bit because we have, for example, the person that I was talking about, when we did our budget presentation this year, we get the rosters sent to us and all the vacancies that were in there. And of course, when we're looking at cut budgets, it's like, okay, let's cut those positions. I'm like, wait, whoa, wait, we can't just start cutting positions. I can provide you a list of all of the open positions that we have. Labor, as a matter of fact, I think we had interviews this week for 3 openings and we're probably hiring 2. But one guy lives in Hoboken. And he is kind of thing, it's like, well, who knows what's gonna happen in a year? Okay, we'll see what happens. Happy to get.
This is great.
Chris, have you faced where, and this is actually very fun, have you faced where people have accepted positions and then stay for less than a year, those required?
I haven't had to deal with that a lot, of people coming for a short period of time. What I'm dealing with now is certain positions of people leaving, more so for pay, because the private construction side right now is such demand that certain people in my department are leaving to get $8, $10, $12 an hour more. I have, as a matter of fact, I gotta share it with you, I just had a salary survey that Chicken put together for communities that I'm just starting to go through. It's the private side that I'm losing people to on that. And most of that is more pay related than it is residency related. But every so often, when we do hire somebody that's out of town that has to come in with a year, maybe 1 every 2, 3 years that might happen too. That's usually they just look at it and say, I can't afford to move that.
Yeah, question. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, you need a record from DPW?
So. Go there, that can bring all here, the Board of Assessment. We had not been impacted in our department by the resident ordinance until very recently. We had one of our board members. He resigned his position because he actually needs to be employed. So he lives at 60 acre site of Springfield, and he needs to move so because of residency requirement across extremely and very specialized. He had a unique background in a set of skills where it's commercial appraisal and assessing. So we have recently posted for a commercial appraiser position. So I'll certainly update this committee after that, see what the result we get and follow up on candidates. But from my point of view, it's really a double whammy because first, we're missing a board member. And second, his skills and expertise actually allowed us to spend less money on outside vendors for some of the work that he did. So our department is actually able to save money on less vendor services. So for this upcoming fiscal year, we may need to increase our professional services budget to basically offset that board member. That's how it's now impacting us.
Question.
Let me start by introducing you to Ann Swogles, our new deputy of, Deputy Commissioner of Health and Services. Welcome, Ann. Ann has been here for 5 weeks. So how does residency, on impact of the Department of Health and Human Services? I think it's more in the clinical areas. And so when we look at trying to hire, our clinical staff, our nursing staff, and specialized individuals such as physicians and dentists. So we, the residency, we would be asking for waivers for those particular positions. So that is a concern. Residency does impact us there. At the animal control shelter, residency impact, because we serve Chicopee, Hoyoke, and Springfield, it's important for us to have the opportunity to hire individuals from those cities. And on some levels we do. However, the director, the department head has to be a Springfield resident, which is absolutely understandable but problematic. We have not been able to hire many specialized individuals in animal welfare because of the residency requirement, particularly for the department head, I would say. So those are the two areas that I see where residency does impact us, those specialized areas. I think the other one would be the Public Health Council for the city. If you look at the acts of 1980, the acts of 1980 say that all of the members of the Public Health Council must be residents of the city of Springfield. There are 2 positions for a physician, and we have 5 physicians who live in the city of Springfield. So what you understand is that our pool to get physicians to serve on that board is really very limited, and 3 of them are retired. So thanks. And Dr. Scabbard continues to hang in there with us, but residency does impact the Public Health Council as well. So those are the areas that I think residency does impact us. Clinical, where we serve more than one city, and certainly some of the board that we have to oversee public health.
Would you speak to the labor departments as well? So does it affect your hiring from veterans and over at the elder affairs? I see it on the PRC side. There's always an open for health and human services, always something open for veterans. And how does it affect those?
So veterans, because we serve, Chapter 150 serves primarily our veterans in the city of Springfield, we have not really had a challenge at hiring Springfield residents. I think we also believe in veterans that's important because the veterans live and work in Springfield, that we do have case managers who are from the city. So I think that it has not impacted there. Elder affairs, certainly the same thing applies because we're supposed to serve the seniors in our city. Does that mean that someone from outside the city can't come in and do a good job? Probably doesn't mean that, but we prefer to have Springfield residents serving Springfield seniors if we can. So it's more the specialized areas that I think we run into challenges. I think across the city and every department is seeing this, our difficulty in hiring even entry-level individuals and the other issues about making sure that they stay, that we retain our employees. So I think it's more than residency for me. It's how do we create a culture in this city that allows our employees to want to stay, number one, and that Springfield residents apply, and that we create a pipeline of highly skilled individuals who reside in the city of Springfield. So thank you for asking the question around the other departments, but I think it's more the specialized area. And for me, it's creating a culture where we can sustain our employees and people want to work for our city.
Thank you, Venus. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No. You're coming up here. Can I leave?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's what's called for. You were invited. Boy, I've been waiting for a long time. Since 28 years, I'm the first and only certified building inspector that the city has hired in 28 years since the work started. Since the work started, I had to try to hire people that make it in the door as a minimum standard. And what's happened over the years, and it's quite well known in Western Massachusetts. You get hired in Springfield, they'll spend the money to train you, they'll spend the money to certify it, and then you move to another community that you don't have to deal with the residents. So not only have been trained some, but they live in cities where people stay. Because if we move to another community for 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, depending on the position, some small communities only 1 million dollars, but they pay quite a bit more. The pay scale right now, we're building only, we are trying to fix the pay scale and get that, because that's just one part of the retention part of it. Still faced with our, you're talking about special positions, all the inspectors are specialized. We're very, there's a lot we have to learn. You in education, there's a lot before I can even hire. I'll give you a case. I had it down in Boston Tuesday for a hearing for a guy we just recently hired. HR vetted him, they thought he was a good candidate at the minimum standard. We thought was he was going to work for us 3 months. They shot him down. Now we're going to have to terminate the employee. So I went to law and try to file the appeal for him yesterday and sat there. I don't think they feel he's not. Doesn't mean that they think he's qualified enough. You always have 2-year architectural degree. You have 30 years experience in the construction industry of control because you didn't have mass TSL register that they feel a little bit like that. So it's been a huge problem. It's been a huge struggle for 28 years. It hasn't been even chronically had at least 5 vacant building inspector positions years now. We filled 2 vacant positions because we're now allowed to get variances. So that is helping. Whether or not we're going to be able to retain. Like I said, I'm working on part of it, the money is a huge part of it, but it is still, I don't have the pool of people pick on the spring. There's no building inspectors. It's actually a building inspector. They're currently working for me. There's a building inspector. Other than that, it's not working because somebody will be trained and they're now working, like say East Line, Montville, Agawam, Chicopee, but they've all taken the inspector. So the continual problem is not going to go away just because the price of the fiction is our market that we pull. I can look back and say, why is it? We go back, so let's say community homes. You look at my father's generation who lived in Springfield because of the zoning. We zoned up contract 40 years ago. You can't have drugs, you can't put it. Also need to get the strong communities that love all their contractor communities. So tell you that's the tool that's especially important. You guys that have experience in construction supervisors, they have the license or they have to have an engineer to be combination of both. There's very few people. Some guys that I know that live in the city have really decent sized buildings. They're not going to, if they have a they're not going to. So I have no tool to pick. So right now, the mayor is working with me to try to get variances in place. But even at that, until we fix the money, get variances in place, I still haven't had a certified building inspector apply it. Well, we can't even recruit from strong communities. If I look within my other ranks, build the plumb lines are pretty much the same. Electrical contracts. There's very few building decisions. So also be have to sell their house. They live a mile line in the city for a fairly low rate of pay. So at least now we're getting granted variants. If I look at some of my other more common positions, housing, zoning, zoning, we had a vacancy for a couple of years over here. We recently filled that position, but the same thing. As Mr. Simone was saying, we cannibalize from housing division, just somebody over there. Because it's the union, right? So in some cases, we got to stand one. Also, so housing zoning is not as bad. And I explain on the housing side, housing inspectors, because we do have a little more of an expertise in the city. There's not a certification or engineering degrees or anything. But we do have a large rental base, large property basis. So we tend to go from the market that itself, they do a lot of rental management, they maybe find barriers or something. So I don't struggle with that. We do have a big turnover because of it. But I don't, if I look at it and say, well, if I didn't have residents in place, would I be able to hire experienced inspectors? We're kind of in the same position of housing zone. If I look at my housing zone inspectors, I think I've hired one experienced inspector in the last 15 years. Yeah. 2 years ago, once the police practice between that one issue that's a totally separate for the board, but residents have actually talked about different severity levels. It's extreme on the goal inspector side. We're looking at with 1,000 people in the city that aren't getting inspected. I'm talking about schools, daycare centers, hospitals. Every place in the assembly, they're not being inspected. We don't have inspectors. And they're going on years and years. We've had a couple of those calls, but that's also a liability. Is that because you don't get to inspect the building, you can't go forward. Well, I mean, if you look at that, you go back to 8-9 months ago, we were for 6 months being building. So if you look at the public safety, it's not huge. So we're not inspecting the building. We got a whole city, we got a whole different structure. We got a part of the budget over here, not too long ago, probably 2 years ago. On the fifth floor, the deck rock just went down. We got the inspector. 3 foot I crushed the moment connection, sat down on the stout. That's the thing you say, you got to build flaps. It was just lucky that myself and the deputy commissioner complained about a woman that fell through the stairs with her foot. We went and investigated. We found out on top of the parking deck closed because the whole parking deck dropped 4 inches. That was complete luck on our part, and it's some due diligence on the commission, but it's just going to show we don't have boots on the ground inspecting these buildings. We don't live in short term, we have in the city. We're going to have to. That's just it's going to happen. So we have to have the ability to hire these people, and residency is huge. Like I say, if you look at the history, I've been here 20 years. I was the first guy to come in the door when residency started. I came in the day before, and the certification part started. So on top of that, trying to do with the certification, education requirements, it's an expertise that's just very hard to find.
Yeah, I mean, you make an important point, and I think others have alluded to is that the further you get in your career, right? So you can recruit someone who's 21, 22, 23 years old that started a family yet. But then once they start a family, they want to go out to someone either for education or they just want to kind of move up in the world. And you lose those people, right? Because it's hard to draw them back into the city when they're already established. Someone has a mortgage, they've had a mortgage for 20 years outside a place, move back in the city, just have a job. It's just not feasible.
It's just very disruptive. So I look for, especially, I mean, the age group I'm looking for. So age group, especially from your careers in the opportunity, right? I can sell the houses, but kids and everything. That was one of the decisions I made when they moving income. And I had started to pay before the presidency. I have my kids up in the system that parents who have the age is that young age. For me, you have to move a little bit less than a mile. Right, very and lovely. And it's been just a huge burden for the last 20 years, which is struggle, and it's absolutely now pay inspectors.
again, that's not your issue, but it's just, so you take the combination of a city has put a residency on, which don't have competitive wages, they can begin to make that work. So if you look at that, I'm sorry, it's a public safety issue. But if you look at the amount of revenue that we've lost, just in probably the last 6, 7, 8 years, 10 years, and we have all these vacancies. You put those pressure on the road, one is public safety, but two, he generates a lot of revenue. He's generating probably $300,000 a year. One guy got to lose that. It's the same thing. We lost all our clinical staff for the last couple of years. Literally just constant turnover. And you look at more now. Trying to do something with the base scale. You take a loss of that, you all see that Springfield Gardens. Springfield Gardens happened. We had no clerks. We were over 6, 7 months behind. Had a hard to recruit clerks to keep them for residents. So by the time we actually try to get our hands on Springfield Gardens going to come taking off the departments, we were 7 months behind. I've got full staff. I've got 4 line machine when you turn else we were at put on that accident most of stuff that happened wouldn't happen. If not, we would have they get caught very early for stop what's going on before you're being wire 17 problems in the city. Units of the city have to put acid in bad. They were disaster. They still, I mean, we had a problem, but we were very lucky that we paid fires because part of their was being remains with being control. We look at the $1,000 nation for the first fires on there. They're making it vocal. I lock up your insurance people in the day to go and get their insurance. You're going to project them. Yeah, questions. There's great insight, President.
And I think part of what's important for having this meeting and having everyone speaking individually is I'm going to make the suggestion that city councilors have access to this video so they can watch and not asking the same question again and maybe approach it, but I have another meeting, a city council subcommittee where they can have already watched this video and then invite some of the city department heads. Because ultimately it's going to be they're just they're going to be those that are going to be changing the rules. But part of the issue that I think people are really good is the competitive wages. So it's kind of part, the residency issue, but also the pay scale issue.
Oh, it's double. You're going to put that sort of thing in place. And it's not that I don't need residents. I do. I'll always say, if I've got 3 people on this, and all 3 of them, I have to live in the city. I'm going to pick from that pool as long as they're qualified. The taxpayers deserve to have qualified people doing the right what they're doing. If you show your homeowners, you make sure your gas pipe and everything just in your own house is safe. You don't think of all the places that you visit in the state. You can think about sprinkler system, bumper runs, the fire alarm system, our emergency doors, working. These are all stuff that I do every day of the week, along with the fire inspectors. We do every day. Nobody ever thinks about. If we're doing our jobs, we don't make the news. If it makes the news, because we haven't done our jobs, it's too late. Now his people are going out there risking their lives for something that probably would have prevented on our part that we never get credit for. We're really good because systems work, systems work, regular systems work, exits work. You may see a little bit of paper, the fire data, BJ's guys had it falling.
Morning. My name is Sean Carney. I'm a national rep with the AHIPO. We're here today representing not only patrolmen, Marty already did a job, but I'm also here to represent the building inspectors. Just a little background. I spent 34 years as a city employee with the police department. Recently retired, happily retired. And I've been involved with the unions my entire career. I've also dealt with residency my entire career. And I can sit here and
probably repeat a lot of the stuff that's already been said in regards to the hiring difficulties and getting qualified candidates. Um, Everybody before me said the same thing. What I'd like to do is reiterate some of the things that were touched upon. One of the things that the DPW director touched upon was waivers. And we're seeing more and more waivers, you know, they're offering waivers to potential employees for the building inspector position. That creates a problem within the ranks. And I know he touched on it, but it really is a question of fairness. You're telling X amount of members that they have to live in the city and they're abiding by the contract, and they were hired and moved in and followed the rules, where somebody comes in behind them, and because of the difficulties we're having with hiring, they're offered a waiver. That does cause animosity. And like I said, it's unfair. It's unfair to the people that are abiding by the rules, but also we also recognize the need for it. So with that said, our guys see that. They see the need for it because they're being overworked. They can't do the job that they've been hired to do. And they're just begging for bodies to help them do the job that they were hired to do. So they understand the need to offer the waivers, but they look at it. My point is the fairness of it, how that trickles down. And with that trickle down point, you know, we talk winners and losers. You know, if we're going to talk who the winners are and who the losers are with residency, I would have to put the winners as surrounding towns. When I came on the police department, I had to be under a residency. Springfield was by far at the time the highest paying police department in the area. I would make the argument that that's not true anymore. So the fact that you would look at pay and come in and go, I will agree to residency because the pay is so much better. I want this job. I don't think that exists anymore. I think that people are more openly now to bounce around. There wasn't a time during my career that I thought about leaving Springfield and going to another department because of the stuff that you established throughout the years that you're there. You establish seniority, you establish vacation time and so forth. And you're going to start over again someplace else with all that being new, dropping down weeks vacations and so forth. It just wasn't appealing because of the pay. That's not the case anymore with patrol and building inspectors. They're willing to just move to another department because pays equal or sometimes better. Their likelihood of getting transferred, or really this is especially for patrolmen, because of the experience they have, is greater. So the desire or the attraction to leave is greater also than it used to. So with the surrounding towns benefiting from everything that we're doing, and I know that somebody asked a question earlier about getting to that year. They typically take that year to get trained, get certified, all at the city's expense, and then turn around and leave with that certification, that training, you get hired in other towns. So that's where surrounding towns are benefiting. The losers, not only the city itself, but the residents. The residents, because of safety issues, where things aren't getting done, buildings aren't being inspected, patrols are down and can't cover the entire city. They're the losers. And I believe that anybody here doesn't realize the trickle down effect. When quality of life issues drop, safety, the whole city's going to lose on that. The whole city's not going to benefit with that residency environment in place because of those things that are happening with the trickle down. I would think if given the opportunity to abolish the residency requirement, I would say that there would be an influx of people that are wanting to work for the city, live where they live. Questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Anybody else back there?
Anybody else have any questions before, get back to your regular agenda? Thank you all for coming. We're gonna get back to the regular agenda.
A lot of good comments.
Appreciate all your.
Thank you.
Good job, Steve.
See you later.
All right.
You know, we haven't heard anyone.
A lot of words.
Yeah.
Yeah, the two major things, because what I about the same. One, it all comes down.
Yeah.
And I think what I do get, good people, I don't, they don't say, you have the same thought. They'll move on to something bigger or better. No money, opportunity, for better quality of life. That's what we want, right?
Yeah.
We all strive. for the same thing.
Yeah, and the same is true in our law department. I mean, we have the same challenges, right? You need a specialized degree to be a lawyer. Not as many lawyers in the city of Springfield, so it's the same here. It's the same challenge. And the additional challenge to the point of everybody being down people, what also happens is those who stay are overworked, right?
Yes.
Because then they've got to pick up other areas that we just don't have people.
Right.
So all that.
They brought being a little shift. It happens to all the time, even on the fire side, as we had 3 shifts in a row in this baseball games. And staff and members. Got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it comes to the territory. Sometimes you get overwhelming for everybody. Now it's multiple times the time after week after week. Where's everybody? Okay, we'll get back to the regular agenda of people has copies from the minutes from the hearings that we held. And they have the minutes from March 7th and the hearings on March 28th.
So here are the executive session, let's vote the executive session from March 7th. That needs to be. And then I also have the minutes from the hearings from the last week. So that's the hearing. And I think when these are set, on Simon's way they go into the employees' filings and one of the employees requested a copy for their own person, but
And you check with permissible, right? I'm gonna double check. Is it permissible to give them a copy of the executive session minutes and then they could?
Either that,
That's what we.
either that, or just a quick notice that, hey, the Residency Compliance Commission on such and such date